It's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I'm back with another game review. This time I'm reviewing the Angry Video Game Nerd 8-Bit. Before I get started, YouTube guidelines requires me to say this. Please like and subscribe my channel and leave lots of comments. Now let's go ahead and get the review. This game was developed by Retroware and published by Megacat Studios and released on October 23rd of 2025 for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC digitally, but it will actually have a physical release here in the coming future through limited run games, including an actual physical NES cartridge if you actually want to get one, which I kind of do even though I don't have a working Nintendo, but still I think that's really kind of cool. Now, if you play the other ones, you know what you're getting into with this. It is a classic side-scrolling 8-bit shooter platformer, and it's considered a reboot of ABGN Adventures, the two previous games that were also re-released as something I think ABGN Deluxe 1 and 2 quite a while ago. Now this game I think has a lot less levels than that, and I think it's a lot easier unless you turn the difficulty up. It consists of 7 levels each with an end boss, and most of the levels, not all of them, seem to have alternate areas you can go to. Not really paths, but different little areas you can go to get different secondary weapons and upgrades to your pistol. Now honestly, anyone who sees this knows it looks like a Castlevania Metroid style game, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, even the boss select screen, the level select, it is straight out of Mega Man. It really is. And it's really kind of odd that you have this 8-bit retro style with the sound, the chiptune music, and the bosses and everything, classic Nintendo fare. But then they go and have these high definition cutscenes that play out with a story, an actual plot to this, involving the Angry Video Game Nerd having Super Mega Death Christ show up, who is pretty much glitching, and jumps into his Nintendo system and has a virus to where it takes over everyone's video games in the whole world. So, he goes and he creates this game by taking all the worst games and doing like a sacrifice with it in order to make the Angry Video Game Nerd cartridge that he puts in there, and that's the game you play. And as you progress through and beat each of these levels, it sometimes will occasionally have more cutscenes that are telling you if you get through all these levels, you'll be able to take down Super Mega Death Christ. And honestly, one thing I pointed out really kind of odd about this is the cutscenes are very well done, much higher quality, much better, obviously a higher budget than this actual YouTube videos. It really does have a much higher quality to it, like the Nintendo system that comes alive. It's actually pretty cool how it looks. And like I said, it is done up just like a Angry Video Game Nerd episode. And that was one thing I have to point out too, is the Nintendo system, at least in the PlayStation version I played, the NES logo, and when he says NES, is edited out. Because it's really kind of odd, because I know in other versions it's on there, it says NES, but in the PlayStation one, they can't say Nintendo Entertainment Center system, I'm sorry. So it's actually deleted from the gaming system, which I thought was kind of funny. Now, as you go through this, it does have a password system, even though since I played on PlayStation, most current gen and last gen gaming systems, it's got to continue. It saves the game. I think that was just incorporated since they actually are going to have a physical 8-bit Nintendo cartridge release. So it has like this save system that kind of reminds me of a Mega Man save system. It really kind of does. Now, as you go through these levels, most of them are side-scrolling, up, down, left, right, stuff like that, and fight off all kinds of these enemies. It is a pretty difficult platformer, and you get your gun, and you go and you collect your power-ups. One thing I did notice is as you get your level of your gun power up, you have a much stronger weapon that really mows down enemies quick and can really stomp the crap out of the bosses fairly easily. But every time you get hit by any enemy, it will take away one of your powers. Now, if you're quick enough, you can actually see the little thing pop away from you. You have a limited amount of time to go over and grab that thing back to get your gun power to keep it from, losing your power. I thought that was actually kind of neat. And you also get a secondary weapon that you can collect through. Most of it is like a bottle that you can throw at enemies. You can have shit pickles show up to help you fight enemies. And you even have a mega yell that pretty much wipes out all enemies on screen. Now, honestly, most of the levels are done up like certain games that he's played in Angry Video Game Nerd. That you got your ET reference. One level's obviously the classic Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde game that is well known to be one of his most favorite videos he's made. I think he's made like 4 of them on that damn game now. But yeah, it is actually quite difficult, and I think it's a little bit easier than the previous 2 games, though. And now it also does matter what difficulty that you put it on. This game comes with 3 different difficulties, from easy, medium to super, super hard. And that naturally changes things, like makes the enemies a lot more of a pain in the ass. It makes it where you die a lot easier. And it also adds a lot more attacks to the bosses. So if you play it on easy, the bosses won't do half the attacks they do. But if you put it on hard, yeah, it's hard. Now, you have a certain amount of lives naturally as you go through. You got your Rolling Rock beer bottle as your health meter. And as you go through, if you lose all your lives, naturally you have to start all the way over at the very beginning of the level. Not the whole game, thank God. Now, one thing is there's not really too many options at all in this game. Really not. I mean, you can change like the CRT style of it. You can stretch the screen out a little bit. But it is still one of these little things where you can even have a background on while you're playing it, because it plays like a classic Nintendo game. And then that actual, because of the difficulty of it as well. It's got some mixture to it, like you see here. There's some parts where you got some classic bullet hell parts to it, but for the most part, it is just a running and gunning side scroller with big epic bosses that are based off of different games that he has done reviews on in the past. Now, currently, this price tag I think is a bit high for this game, and also, unless you really like the humor of Angry Video Game Nerd, since he's so foul. In fact, this game has the most cussing in it I have ever heard. He doesn't even cuss that much in his actual episodes, so this one, hands down, has got a lot of foul language in it. I mean, a lot. So much I kind of had to, tone it down and cut stuff out. So it wouldn't get red flagged by YouTube terms and standards here. But honestly, hands down, I would have to say, this is a very short game. It really, really is. Because you beat the 6 enemies, and then the 7th one finally appears, which is hands down the hardest one, with like areas glitching, all the enemies coming after you. The final boss has a multi-part boss battle that actually, once you figure out the patterns of these bosses, you can speedrun this game no problem. Seriously, no problem. But honestly, I am kind of disappointed in this one for one reason, really only, and it's the price. They want $20 for this game, and normally that wouldn't be too big of a deal. I mean, but this game is only about an hour to 3 hours long, max. You can get through this game in an hour. I was able to beat it in one sitting without, really like dying. I mean, I died a lot, but I had enough lives to where I was able to beat the game in one sitting, no problem. Now, that was on medium difficulty. I haven't tried it on hard yet, because I know medium was a lot rougher than easy mode was. But honestly, the bosses are big and rather epic, and honestly, it's got great sound to it. It is a very challenging game. But I do honestly think that the other 2 games, this one's designed better than those, but the other ones were a lot harder and a lot longer. Yeah, this one is a rather short game. It really, really is, for only 1 to 3 hours long. And there's no really extra stuff to it other than when you beat the final boss. It does have an ending. It does actually have an ending with the full motion cutscenes that they show with the nerd, which I thought that was honestly awesome. It was better than most of his dang episodes on YouTube. I really thought it was, but personally, I think the price is too high for this game for how short it really is. Because the only other thing you get, as you see here, is when you beat the game, you'll get a code on screen, and if you enter it, it'll unlock boss rush mode, where basically, just as you can see, when you go through each and every single one of the bosses, one right after another, and as long as you don't lose all your lives before you get to the end and beat Super Mega Death Christ, pretty much that's it. There really is nothing else in this game. And so, honestly, other than the fact of them actually having a physical release coming soon of an actual NES cartridge of this, I can only imagine how much that's going to cost. But I can honestly say I love this game. It is difficult. It is a good challenge. It does bring back classic feelings of the classic Mega Mans and Castlevanias. I love the fact that it has tie-ins directly to certain games that he played and did reviews on. But I think the only issue I have with this is there's not enough options. There's not enough any sort of special things. They should have had behind the scenes, when they were filming the live action stuff, so you can see like bloopers or something. But there's really nothing on here other than the game and a boss rush. And I would have to say, personally, I think it just costs too much. I really do. I still say it's a really good game. It is a great game. And if you like the nerd's humor, you'll like this. But if you weren't really a fan of him, then you're not going to really care that much for this. The amount of foul language in it, the references that he talks about, unless you're a fan, you're probably not going to understand it. But in the end, I can recommend it, but I would probably say wait until it goes on sale. I do honestly think that $20 is a bit too high for only a 1 to 3 hour game. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching this video. Once again, please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up and like this video, leave lots of comments below, and of course here at Devil Dog Gaming, we always end our videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.